Yes, hello, welcome to Ivan Che Innocent One here on YouTube. When you're subscribing, I'm a catcher, you're mixing a lot. Subscribe and be part of this intellectual community and let's grow together. And right, that's sorry, I am some papa, I equity MP. I say, in your media. It's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate, to be very honest. It's a young man at his age our the level of political prominence, our rising to the prospect, everything, and losing such a young person at this time, is very disturbing. So, what I can say is, we wish the family, our heartfelt condolences to the immediate and the extended family. It's very heartbreaking, very, very, very heartbreaking. I must be very honest with you. It's sad when you listen to some of these things, but bɛsɛ yɛsɛ nyame n'anim deɛ ɔyɛ and it's sad, it's very, very, very unfortunate. So that is it. So on today on the topic meka ho asɛm my culture said I want to dive into the social realm. There has been a number of development occurs within the social space, and for me it's very, very important to say yɛbɛhwɛ na yɛ focus on some of the development in the forum. Yabu Yagusu. The last time I was talking to you about education and how your structure your education, doesn't really bring the best out of our people because education should be structured in such a way so you look at the potential or look at the awonipanumu and you design a system to enhance to potentiate that particular innate characteristics and then as a for but no, we have designed a rigid system and it doesn't matter where you're coming from, what your skills are, whatever your potential is, you must adjust everything to fit into the rigid system that has been designed. That is a mistake. Educational systems are supposed to be very flexible, recognize every individual based on their inner potential, and as for oh yeah, that is why I call some of the countries I say your friend and crabinum, your friend is saying, oh, hey, Ike, na, if there was special school, special kid with special needs, and then as a for them, no. And your rigid educational system, no, I had what is uppo confirm. No, Obi they are very, very intelligent, but they cannot even write. Obi or you're very, 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 very smart. They can write, but they can't even speak properly and a whole lot of stuff. So you as a country will have to design the educational system to be so flexible in such a way that it can help and bring the best out of who we are. But unfortunately, we the Africans have designed a very rigid educational system. About 70% of the things we even study here, any direct linkage via to what we do here. They are all external foreign stuff and the most basic things that we need to focus on. No? Yeah, to a good. The last time I catch us said, if we really want to focus on education, I think one of the crucial areas yabuya niguso are the formative years at the primary, kindergarten, primary school level, no? Because say ya wakra I've always argued about this nature argument, and I know say whatever you are, that's your school days, and that's for that argument, kept popping up. Your friend is saying Ubia ne nema, but with my your friend is saying exposure, reading, medicine, nursing, whole lot of stuff. I've come to realize that yes, nature a very significant impact and the kind of nema impact into our offspring. I can tell you on authority, say the most overriding force I influencing who we become, our orientation, our social, everything beyond has to do with nature, the social environment, the political environment, the economic environment, the community we find ourselves, is shaping a play quite a crucial role. So yeah, what cry, to school. The mind is empty. Onim hwee. So that early stage, exposure, ne nema obenya. Because I remember in one of our class, now you can say, so what cry a monoto na usua for several hours, na obi ankon nchen kofana. Akra no sha say usua. Otimi sua be 20 minutes obi anko ho. Sa sa akora no, you are detaching that akora no from love. And they onyina ebenya impact on so. These are basic things we don't avail our mind to. And akora no at that early age, the things they get exposed to, form the the basal element, the foundation, I will all grow in a life upon it. You understand? So, for instance, akra kitwa at the early stage, you are shouting at akra no, like men can beating cry very often shouting. Now what describing the teeth and tan tan. Now why say you use the body part of the akra no, who did not have bones there. Or yeah, they are slow, but you're very timid. Onyina no oduru baabi oduru secondary school where they are supposed to mingle with their peers, then that inferiority complex kicks in. Hey, na nyame na me ma me se beti afia no. Hey, na nyame na yese me body we hye say so akwara na sa na mo ni di nya. Enti where ne nam fofo ogro no, he's unable to, because there is a psychological scar I will leave on his mind. And very often it's over here, some cry na ya no mo very shy. But I never call me say no more shy among Casano. They are the very people who end up indulging in alcohol, drugs. Do you know why? Because they feel said the social spaceness or more getting along with everybody, Wabunu wabum fiance. Sorry. They don't fit the space. And they cannot willingly avail themselves to be part of that society because they will be struggling for acceptance. That is how I. So in order to overcome that barrier, so they resort to drugs, alcohol, and say extra they can easily mingle. And as I'm making you after secondary school parent, you can relate some of these things. So for instance, obi how who ba bi na ni gina ho person ko catch and send openo. On to me fan any kind because there is psychologically there's a whole trauma be a dano so wabu no ho that inferiority complex because of exposure na atiatia nkra brem ne na sefo no mti like they become very reserved very way, but I don't know what who so ope. So obviously be koto credit agumani, so obviously be kwa kwaye way, so they sa nneema no influence or life ne you do whole lot of stuff. It is a what be say at the early stage sa school na ye ha no ye didi agro oh obi o ha cultural exams maths one pass, English one pass, science one pass, social studies one pass, and what if fa be kira the question is psychologically and how intelligent is that person, because you are going to expose that person to be interacting with enkra afe no mo ba wi ase abesua bibi socialization, school, your friend saying church, home. And at that early stage, crime time come spend with fear near kakrebi, so the bond with nipa no more child or school is the reason why I cry no. Oko school na the madam catch her and say 1 + 1 aye 3 oba fie na wa we ma me no catch her and say aye 2 on yi ne da. Ko bonding, so with the teacher or spending my time with them, they trust them because at that early age, that is the kind of social bonding na omunya. So make us say oba wo shout to at wo tiano na de machine wo insulted like wo bonu gidi 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 na se for akwara ya they are the best thing you can do ni say chinegina ho tell him and answer her why the person should not do this. And I say, oh yeah, the consequences that are way. So some of the you can start with some of these things. I no, and yeah, say what you know on what you know on you beginning instead of we see yeah. Because I say ahoma enyini. Kwan ya befa so pese enko a obetimi akon no, pese enko straight a betumi. By hano, we don't pay much attention to some of these things, so we end up raising vagabonds and as for thinking said the school your instrument you bet me that's Sunday the last time I catch America. I have this book the correctional theories, why people go to jail, why so many people in jail, and the statistics from America is mind blowing. I'm telling you, the number of people in America who have tasted jail and also more we so paru so more fear and more kwaba na for the numbers. One day I will share the numbers with you. It's quite amazing. But the research also reveals that majority of the people no more committed crimes moving from one jail to another, coming from a particular background. They were kids who were denied affection at the early stage. Or ne maame bi a obepia abonten ato ice cream abre no. Oni papa bi a ofri abonten akọ hage no. So at that early stage, they grow with that love. And for instance, wakɔ children's home. Ɔkɔ ankora no gu hɔ bebree yɛ ba ne yɛbɛkyɛ aduane ama ɔmo. There is no mother, there is no affection at that room, no. A survivor of the fittest. So akora in that environment, growing without having a DFN sympathy, minka so munyina, but majority. Because growing up, it's like being in a snake pit. Everybody is fighting for survival. Enti on being in enti so no benya bibi, na say he has to go through nimi obeye. That is why these majority of them end up. So when they grow and they get out of that particular place, now mingle with the normal society, they are unable to, because the life they've learned, there is no love, there is no affection. Opadia a kitty by Quembias or Faswa, and Obi so you're denying a love, a very dangerous person. They don't feel for anything. They are not for, that is in their mind, they think that is the normal thing. And you have a fawadi and now you're not ukukra and fano. And you might see, say, washada and shada, because nature is everything. If you take it time now research into this area, this is just way keke. I'm just giving you an overview. But I'll take my time, take you through some of the lectures. You will go deeper. Now what is I'm just opening the lid, just keke for you to understand. Say, education, the most crucial and the most important point in our education, the early age, the formative years. Because akranity empty. Akra say nkra secondary school no mobile university. When they come to the university, some of them have zero political orientation. I'm telling you this because I've had the opportunity of interacting with some of these young guys on the university campuses or Maba. All that they know, NDC and MPP or the free buy. They don't know anything about politics. So campus there, that was quite a political life starting. So environment can influence situations and circumstances. The prevailing economic situation within the mining as if so that become the building blocks or they building the political orientation. Into all building also was skewed to NDC and I was skewed to MPP. Or being so by whatever way they get hostile exposure to some of these things, then as a forum, maybe another for not the committee and saying we find or not prepared, but all then they accept it. You understand? So that is how our environment, social settings, and then as a forum, no unconsciously, what then is when yet it to be a dictate a rule our life for us to do certain things. So I'm telling you, sir, education. But BS you're spending much time. I'm told that across some of the European countries, if you won't hold a PhD at the early stage, cry my own child, and I won't cry. Yes, and now cry your masters. But I catch us at that early age, you need an intelligent person who understands the psychology of the human mind to be able to train these people. But these professionals are not available, Akra no be 5 years no I vagabond that. And you control them control say so at the early stage, e be akra ma no be show no love of fear. But school now or call be say how do they treat them there? Form of punishment bang and a school obi o ha wako school yes yabobo exams ware na be gina a school for ni nyina anim na yahuru no. Come what akra no waku no. You've killed that child. You can trace their history on your alcoholic and now or your drug addict. And crana very often no school. Now I really do my big board and near Huromono. Kakrebi and it's survival. Because what soon you've rendered him worthless in front of his colleagues or you're useless because I exams. And Sanya Maro have a toe because psychologically know what creates a hole in his head. We don't consider these things in our education. So we think that just education keke. Yeah, training the parties as a more. And nipa ninja no so yeah more nema. So that sympathy is not there. So the most educated in this country, are the most wicked and the most criminal in our environment. We have politics, what is happening now. nipa no kusua nimdeɛ a ɔbɛboa ama deɛ nimdeɛ no atimi abo hyehyɛ na brabo nneɛma kɔ yie no ɔde nimdeɛ no ɔno akɔ akusua no de wia no ama deɛ ohiani no ase ayɛ ohiani na nyansa nie. You understand? So I think say, like I said, subscribe to this channel. These are some of the social aspects that we will be exploring in the coming days. Sebeya, we need deeper understanding about how you behave, why people become criminals. Is it by design, by convention, by what? These are things that you bet me because I think that your upbringing, you know, it determine about 70 to 80% who we become. Genes, ne, your genetic way, there will be a possibly on to way. But I'm telling you, sir, they do not overwhelmingly influence what we become, what we do, as compared to what nature gives us. Nature. So, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to be part of this channel, and let's grow. Thank you very much for your time.